Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at basically a little bit about sparking characters. Can sparking characters still be used in the current meta? Should you use them? When should you use them? How should you use them? And this video doesn't really cover specific sparking characters. I am using a couple, but I wanted to use a couple that kind of represent different things. So for example, the green magenta, it sounds so weird to say, but the villain from Dragon Ball Super Hero, looking at him, looking at obviously the way he facilitates teams, the fact that he essentially provides a self-destruct, how he provides additional damage, turn boosting for everyone else, looking at a unit like Android 8, that represents a good damage dealer / tankier option who can also facilitate good substitution time accounts for other units. And then obviously looking at a unit like Red Cell, who in his own way is just a good unit, like so good as a unit. And I think like you have to not use these kind of units, but you have to look at sparking units as potential options for being answers to solutions more so than being mainstays in your team. And I say this by extension, that sparking units I see more as distinct problem solving mechanisms towards certain teams that I might face in like the realm of PvP, or in the realm of the PvP meta, more so than being units that I'm absolutely 100% desperate to run with. Another great example is Red Pan. Red Pan is a unit that stood the test of time for a couple of reasons. Some of the reasons being that she provides so much good utility to a team, and I mean that's the big kind of sink scenario. And I do agree. I think she provides a ton of utility. But there are plenty of units like that, and I think you have to accept that some sparking units are great answers to certain situations. For example, if you're struggling to take down a certain character, you could look towards sparking units to determine if there is a solid solution to that character you're facing. I did it recently when I looked at the build video for Legends Limited Trunks. I know that's obviously a Legends Limited character, but Trunks could potentially be a decent solution towards the powerful opponent Super 17 that's kind of been running amok in PvP. And in the same way, you can look at units that can kind of hard counter to a certain extent what other units are providing. I think it's always important to do that. A great example is this Magenta. Not saying he distinctly counters anything, but he's a throwaway unit, he's a self-destruct unit. There's lots of units that do huge damage, and having Magenta come in and be able to essentially turn those moments where that unit's spiking to turn that big ultimate attack or that big special move, or where they're doing crucial damage into a almost damage against them, is something very good. It's something that's incredibly helpful. It's something that's really useful. So I think you have to start looking at sparking units as being potential options more so than standard mainstays. And I think units like Pan, they get the pass in the sense of she's so good, she warrants still kind of being on teams. But a lot of sparking units are going to be units that provide a niche solution more so than anything. I continue kind of talking about Magenta because he nullifies abnormal, he nullifies paralysis, he boosts powerful opponent, android units, green units. He boosts the damage inflicted by them, he boosts their health when he is defeated, and he does damage back to the enemy. So all of these things are incredibly helpful. They can help to boost your team. And I'm using 3 support units here, obviously, in the case of to kind of showcase them. But it's a way to kind of say, there's units here that can be niche solutions to things. Android 8 is very much the same. Android 8 does a lot of great stuff. So, for example, when the enemy changes cover, he will randomly destroy 2 cards. He will remove their Vanishing Gauge. He will reduce their Dragon Balls. He's a great option for boosting or disrupting the opposition when you're on the offensive. He also gives damage inflicted. He also gives health when he's defeated. So between him, and between Magenta, you sit in a situation where you have like this incredibly good sense of damage boost, healing, and just overall great performance. And these are not individual units like this. These kind of units can really help feed into your big damage dealer. A great example of this is, now imagine you have Super 17 as your Legends Limited character, and you're feeding him with Magenta, you're feeding him with Android 8, and your opponent, he easily gets through them. He takes a bit of chip damage himself. But then Super 17, he's boosted. He's going to have a 15-20% boost from Magenta, another 20% boost from Android 8. He's going to be healed up. He's going to be ready to go. And, you kind of have to, again, not saying you have to use these kind of units, but these units are helpful. They're very good in providing you with these potential opportunities to have solutions to certain units and the problems that they provide. Second Form Cell. Also a very, very, very interesting unit. He's got a couple of things I think that make him quite interesting. He's more of a traditional, actually a decent damage dealer as well. But he provides some really good solutions to certain problems. He's great at disrupting the opponent. So again, randomly destroying a card, really kind of elevating himself to be able to disrupt the opposition, to cause issues with their game flow, with their combo flow. He also has the ability to really increase your own hand. He increases your card draw speed. He increases the amount of cards you have when he switches in. So he is a very good unit in that way. And I'm just talking about these three because obviously they're the ones I just put in the team to kind of showcase the the effectivity of support characters. But there are so many good, interesting support characters that you can use. Yellow Jiren is one. Yellow Jiren is still a great character that you can use as a Sparking. He has the ability to basically completely disrupt the opposition. He has a fantastic performance. Still very much viable in a lot of metas and a lot of teams right now. Yellow Gotenks, also very much the same. We've mentioned the Ginyu Force a couple of times. We've spoken about how they can still remain effective. Master Roshi, also a really interesting unit. Can really kind of put things together really nicely. The Dragon Ball Legends Master Roshi. This Android 16 that just came out. So there's like a lot of Sparking units that, just because you aren't running a Legends Limited character, don't assume that they are not going to be useful. Especially the best ones all tend to have, I don't want to say niche, but tend to have very good situational aspects to them that allow them to functionally change the fight and be effective in the fight and elevate your team to being more productive in the fight. And I think that's something you have to almost be, I don't want to say enthralled by, but that you have to almost be looking for when you're trying to pinpoint an effective Sparking. Yeah.